All right. Welcome back. Episode 207 of Chaotically Intolerant after our week break. We have a lot going on. We got Aaron Rodgers going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. We have the NBA Finals. The Pacers are up 2-1 right now. And then baseball. It's been another crazy couple weeks in baseball. Roman Anthony is up. He is in the big leagues. And so much more. But before we get into that, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and let's go. All right, Mike. Let's start off on the topic that we just want to get through. We just want to say I'm done with this. Aaron Rodgers going to the Steelers. I'm not excited about this. This feels like the Jets were so excited to have Aaron Rodgers when he signed there a couple of years ago. Steelers fans, from what I've seen, it's been overwhelmingly rolling their eyes. Just they know what they're going to get. You know you're going to get all that drama, and that is just not Steeler football. Steeler football is not what Aaron Rodgers has been the past 5 years, roughly. I think we really started seeing him come out of his shell the last 5 to 10 years. I mean, are the Steelers now legitimate contenders? I don't know. Well, we don't know. We thought that about the Jets, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think Rodgers is washed. He's a clubhouse cancer. It just feels like such a desperation move for the Steelers. It just feels like you've got 40, what is he now?
42?
42? Wow. 42-year-old quarterback in a division with, young studs, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, maybe even a Shadur Sanders. You have a Steeler team that just excels at being above average. I don't know what I know that they get Metcalf. They trade Pickens away. Maybe there's a little more of a dynamic element to their offense. They always bring a pretty good defense. I think they'll probably be similar to what they were last year. But even if they're a little better, it's not enough to make them a championship contender, honestly. And
yeah, he's 41. Not 42, 41. He also just got married, apparently. That was just the first thing when I looked up his age that came up. I think we're not. I think we could very well see Mason Rudolph at some point this year. I mean, there was a lot of buzz around him being a much more mature quarterback, and they're starting to see some growth out of him. I think he could have something to benefit from being in the locker room with Aaron Rodgers and being in this Steeler locker room. Because either you're going to get a lot of insight from a veteran who's been around the game for a long time, or you're going to get to see how things shouldn't be done, and how a locker room should not operate. So I think this is going to be, I think Mason Rudolph is the winner in all of this. He's been there. I mean, how long has he been there now? It's been 6-7 years, I feel like. I mean, the Myles Garrett helmet smashing thing, he was there for that, and that was at least 7 years ago, right?
Yeah, I think so. And I thought Mason Rudolph left and then came back.
Let's see.
Went to Tennessee, I thought.
You are right. Yes, he did go to Tennessee. I'm misremembering that. He's been in the league since 2018. Like, very under the radar, like veteran, vet in the NFL, like very under the radar. You don't think of Mason Rudolph as a guy who's been hanging around the NFL for a while. But he's been here. This is going on year 7 now.
Yeah.
And then Anthony Richardson as well. I guess we should touch on that. It's over. I don't know what else to say. It's over. I think the shoulder injury. It's not good. I don't think we're going to be seeing a lot. I think it's a lot higher of a chance that Anthony Richardson is not a Colt by the end of the season we're going into, or we won't see him in 2026. The Colts will be drafting for a quarterback, or they're just going to be tanking again for Arch. This could very well line up as the Colts being able to see Arch Manning, and this could be a very cleansing season, couple years, I'd say. You have The Irsay daughters coming in now, they're all going to be kind of working together. And I actually really like that. I think having multiple minds in there rather than just Jim Irsay's mind making the decisions, I think that's the best way to do things. You're going to have competing ideas. You're going to have people kind of challenging the way that things were done. And that's really what you need. That's what helps growth, and that's what helps foster growth in an organization. So I'm really actually excited for the distant future of this team. I mean, the next couple years are probably going to suck, but we saw it with the Detroit Lions where the longtime owner passed away and the daughters took over, and look at what the Lions have become. So I'm very excited. This is going to be a hopefully a new era of Colts football, but you do have to wash away some of those old wounds, and looks like Anthony Richardson is over. It's going to be Daniel Jones, and I'm ready. I'm ready for the Danny Dimes era in Indianapolis. Watch him grow. Watch him kind of fight for that first spot. Maybe we'll see a little bit of that first year. New scenery. We're going to see Danny Dimes be Danny Dimes and not the Giants. I mean, I think I can joke, but it's not going to be good. It's not going to be fun to watch Colts football for the next couple of years.
That's a fair assessment.
But we can hope. We can hope for the Danny Dimes of 2021. Was that the good year?
22.
We can hope for the Danny Dimes of 2022. Let's pray for that. And then, I don't know if you have anything else on Anthony Richardson. I mean, it's just over. It's done.
No, just kind of sad because physically great talent.
Could he be in the camp of Jamarcus Russell? I feel like he's not. Jamarcus Russell was it felt like a can't miss. It's impossible for him to miss, but he did. Anthony Richardson was a project. I think going into that, I don't think you can really throw him into that camp, but definitely, I mean, the fourth pick in the draft, and he's done essentially by 2025. That's really frustrating to see.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be quite that level of bust, but not far off.
And then let's go into the NBA Finals. Tyrese Halliburton is seemingly putting the Pacers on his back. I hope my assessment's correct. I haven't watched too much of the series, but I think that game one was just another example of the Pacers are just finding ways to win. The momentum is on their side right now. It's going to be hard to stop them. But the Pacers, the Thunder put up a good fight in game two, and they even the series in game three last night. I honestly don't know what happened. So give me a little bit of insight on the NBA Finals.
Well, again, I mean, it was not quite the Pacer comeback that has kind of defined their postseason, but it was kind of a neck and neck game. It involved the Pacers making plays in the fourth quarter, which they just continue to do. They're on some kind of special run. I mean, I really felt going into the series they had a great shot. I was bullish on them. Officially picked the Thunder in 7, but there was a part of me that was like, this Pacers team, there's just something, those intangible qualities. Sometimes you can't quite describe it. That the Thunder are the better team. They've been the heavy favorite all year, but it's been really the Pacers getting more depth or getting more contributions from more players this postseason than I think even the Thunder, and that people realize. And it was, still somewhat balanced effort last night. Halliburton at 22, Siakam 21. I mean, Siakam, what a postseason for him. And you have a player in Siakam who was a big part of a championship team with the Raptors in 2019. Halliburton, I don't know if he's just more on a mission because he got hurt during that Boston series last year. He is a big-time player. He's having a breakout postseason. And I don't know, the Thunder are young. You think about, yes, they've gotten to the finals, which they've lived up to expectations so far, but now you get to this stage and you're supposed to win. I mean, they're crazy heavy favorites. I mean, I was seeing minus 770 sportsbooks. Yeah. I mean, that is wild when you're going up against a team that is as hot and deep and hungry as the Pacers. So right now, I think the pressure really falls on OKC, because now you're this big favorite. You're down in the series. They're still favored. The odds makers still have them at minus 220. Obviously, if they bounce back and win game 4, then the narrative shifts. Now they're going back to OKC. If the Pacers win, I'm saying if the Pacers win and go up 3-1, they're definitely winning the series. 2-2, coin flip. But it's been fun, and, love him or hate him, I think Halliburton has truly elevated his status to star, maybe superstar at this point.
Yeah, not the most overrated player in the league, I would say.
No. And I mentioned Siakam, and don't forget they have a head coach who won a championship with Dallas in 2011. So that matters too, carries that weight of Rick Carlisle, who's been a head coach now for this is his 24th season as a head coach. That those things matter. Mark Daigneault for the Thunder, their head coach. Yes, he's been coaching. I mean, this is his 5th year, but the experience that Rick Carlisle brings, I think that matters too. And this team has just excelled at finishing games.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move into baseball.
And no love for the NHL, right? But the Panthers are up 2-1, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Give me a little bit on the NHL. Give me a little bit on Stanley Cup.
Very quick scoop, but I think the Panthers have kind of gotten in the Oilers' heads a little bit. Brad Marchand, game winner in game 2, come back with a dominant effort in game 3. And all of a sudden you're like, are the Oilers just going to be this team that gets so close, like the 49ers, and just can't, the 49ers against the Chiefs, and the Panthers are shaping up. And we'll have to talk about a real dynasty in progress if the Panthers go back to back, and this is their 3rd appearance in a row. So Florida's looking good.
Yeah, Florida hockey in general has been just dominant over the past 6 years. I mean, this is an extended period of time of dominant Florida hockey teams. I mean, if you're Canadian, how just angry does that make you? The stupid Floridians, they don't even have natural ice like in their state. They've never seen or rarely ever see snow, anything like that. I mean, when it drops below 50, even 60, people are putting on their heavy coats in Florida. That's got to feel awful for Canadians.
Yeah. And 6 years in a row now, since the pandemic started. And you think about it, everybody started flocking to Florida when the pandemic started. I don't know if that has anything at all to do with Florida suddenly becoming, the toast of hockey, but it just seems interesting, those parallels here over the 6 years, because the Lightning, they started their dynasty in the bubble. They and the Panthers have a chance to do the inverse. Lightning won the first 2, then lost their 3rd finals. Panthers lost their first, now have a chance to win the next 2. And getting Marchand, getting Seth Jones, just bolstering the roster with talent, experience, and they can rest on last year. And they know Edmonton's the one who has to get over the hump, not the Panthers. And that's just been a powerful mechanism for Florida this postseason and this series in particular.
Yeah. So Stanley Cup, you'd say we're at 2-1 right now?
2-1 Florida. Yes. Game 3 is tonight, Thursday, or game 4, is tonight, Thursday.
All right. Now let's go into baseball. Any improvement from your Baltimore Orioles? I mean, they're 7-3 in their last 10. They're going to hit a little bit of a stride here, right?
Yeah, playing better. Swept Seattle. That pushed their winning streak to 6, then dropped 2 out of 3 in Oakland/Sacramento. Came back to split the first 2 with Detroit. You have a couple guys heating up offensively. Gunnar Henderson, Jackson Holliday, O'Hearn's had a great year. Pitching's been, starting pitching's been okay. The bullpen's been pretty good. They get Tarek Skubal tonight. So if they win this and they win the series, what are they, only like 4.5 games out of a wild card or something at the moment? I got to look.
Let's
I think,
see.
Yeah. I'm sorry, they're 8 games out. I was thinking they were close.
Getting a little optimistic there.
I got a little optimistic. I looked. I saw Texas, and the Orioles were 1 line below. Yeah. I knew that didn't sound right. But, yeah, I think, look, they still have the 3rd worst record in the American League. I still expect them to be, I don't know, full sellers, but more sellers at the deadline. even if they get Grayson Rodriguez and Kyle Bradish back, they still have an uphill climb. But yeah, they're playing better ball. They're not an incompetent team by any means. I think they just lack the pitching. They're still relying on the home run. Mountcastle's now on the IL for up to 3 months. So yeah, they're fighting it a little bit, but really nice to see Jackson Holiday starting to round into a really good everyday player.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Still 14 out with the Yankees. So
yeah, that's not happening.
I mean, yeah, the Yankees are still just kind of, they lost 2 or 3 to the Red Sox this weekend, but that's more of like a rivalry thing. I think I even saw a few people on like some comment section talking about the Red Sox, and they were like, yeah, they'll still take 2 or 3 from us this weekend. Like, I promise you, though, no matter how good we're playing, the Red Sox will come into New York and take 2 or 3 or something like that. But the Yankees, I mean, they're just still. I mean, Aaron Judge is just a fucking disgusting monster. We're in the middle of June now, and he's still hitting. He's got a very realistic possibility to break Ted Williams' record.
Yeah, I mean, look, kudos to Judge. He's a fun player to watch, but I almost hate that the Yankees are good more than I hate that the Dodgers are good, because I think we've gotten really used to it with the Dodgers, and they've put this insanely talented team together. And you look at it, and it's like they're actually underperforming because they have a rash of injuries, which they're starting to get some of their relievers back, Yates and Kopech and Snell, Glasnow, Sasaki all on the mend, all that. But the Yankees, it's like they were clearly the inferior team last year in the World Series. There was no doubt about that. The American League is so weak. When you're starting to cross your fingers that the Blue Jays and the Rays can make a run and hats off to the Jays. They're 8 games over 500, but are they really that good? Then you look at the Central and the Twins and the Guardians and the Royals, and then you look at the AL West, and Houston's the only team over 500. The Yankees lose Garrett Cole. Oh, they go out and they buy Max Fried, and they bought Carlos Rodon, and Marcus Stroman's coming back, and Stanton's coming back. And it's like, I get it, they're good, but it doesn't feel like they should be this good. We talked about it before. The Trent Grishams and Paul Goldschmidts and Cody Bellinger, those guys of the world, they're not that good. They're having good years, but they're not actually that good. And these relievers that are stepping up, it's annoying. It feels like they're kind of winning a little bit by default, and a little bit of that like mystique is back just because they're the Yankees. Teams are starting to cower around them. And then you look at the American League and you're so deflated because you say, who's really going to stop them? I mean, Detroit has the best record, sure, but I'm not sure exactly how trusting I am of the Tigers. And then you have Houston, who's like, that's the next team you don't want to see, right? And they're 37-30. They don't look like a true championship team to me. And then it's like, after that, who's the next team in the AL? Again, you would think the Blue Jays, the Rays, the Twins, the Guardians, the Royals. I mean, none of these teams are anything better than maybe a little above average, maybe decent amount above average. But it gets depressing when you start looking at the rest of the American League.
Well, and I'm sure, I mean, I say this as a Red Sox fan, like I think the last 2 series, the Red Sox have been hitting their stride. Like, this is where you're starting to see them say, now we go. Marcelo Meyer, 2-homer game last night. Roman Anthony picks up his first hit in his second game after the number switch. Has a great sliding catch in the outfield. I mean, they might be starting to hit that stride a little bit, but it's not reliable. A 6-game stretch against a couple division rivals. I mean, that's not a reliable barometer to say if this team's going to be a real serious threat in October. But saying the Red Sox, I'm sure that doesn't really make anyone else feel any better about it. Like, oh, if it's not the Yankees or the Astros, then it's going to be the Red Sox, like another team that has dominated over the last 25 years, roughly. I mean, you look at Kansas City is underperforming. They're sitting right around 500 ball. That's a team you might want to see make a challenge at the Yankees for. I mean, Seattle has just been awful over the past week and a half.
Yeah.
The Angels, they've been okay.
I mean, I think Texas, if you look at the American League, a team that has really not hit at all, but is still hanging around. We know Bruce Bochy. They've got pretty good pitching. I think if their lineup can come in, boy, the whole team had been in a slump, but they've broken out a little bit in this Minnesota series. Well, they had 16 runs the other night. They've been incredibly disappointing. I think that's a team you kind of look at. And then the Red Sox, to me, the Red Sox could end up being last year's version of the Tigers. And you think about that youth, they said, well, to heck with it. We're just going to ride with these young guys and we'll see where it ends up. And all of a sudden, late in the year, these guys start believing, they start getting more comfortable, playing in the majors. And maybe this is that year where the Sox, maybe they do get to the playoffs, but then the experience, lack of, catches up to them. But then they've got this momentum going into next year. I love that they're doing this. I mean, it's different from what we've seen in all these great past Red Sox teams that have been so veteran heavy, the guys that then they brought in some big guns. And this has been different, especially with Bregman out now. You're seeing, so many of these young guys like Marcelo Meyer.
I mean, Abraham Toro might start the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck is that guy?
he's the guy who hit the home run that Justin Verlander, I think, bought like a watch or something because he broke the scoreless tie and then Verlander ended up throwing a no-hitter. That's one thing I remember Abraham Toro for. But they, and to see Roman Anthony, it's exciting. I mean, I think the pitching is still pretty questionable. I mean, obviously Crochet's had a great year, but feels like a pretty big drop off after that.
Yeah, I mean, you want to see, and I think it's just a lot of guys where you were hoping you were going to get their better years, like Walker Buehler coming back from injury, and you're not getting what you would have hoped for. I'm not saying that I didn't expect him to be. I didn't expect him to be this bad. He's been awful his past 4 or 5 starts. But I think you kind of hope for maybe something in the middle. You were maybe hoping it would be your number 2. Brian Bayo, I mean, you again, the kid, it seems like he's just struggling more with the mental side of the game. When he gets someone 0-2, it's like impossible for him to get an out. If you're a batter and Brian Bayo has you at 0-2, you better be smiling. Like you're going to survive that at bat. And I think you can also look at kind of the management of the bullpen. You have guys out there who just can't hit the strike zone, and Alex Cora just keeps them in there. I think the extra innings game against Tampa, you were just surviving on like a Ceden Rafaela little dribbler in between the pitcher and the first baseman to get your run in the 10th to tie the game up. Like you want to see more of a hammer of like authority, and you're like, we are the Red Sox, we are better than you, and they just haven't been able to do that. But the Yankee series was incredibly encouraging to see, especially seeing them score runs late. That's something we haven't seen from them. They have had trouble scoring runs late at times, and like just it's telling the pitching staff, no matter how bad you're doing, the offense is going to pick you up no matter what. That's what we kind of saw in the Yankee series, and they came back on Friday night. Obviously, they did lose that one, but it's again, this is such a mixed bag team. Like you can't say they're bad because they're not a bad baseball team by any means, but they're just not good. They're not good, but you don't want to say they're average because then that puts them into that spot of like, well, they're just not really fun to watch if they're an average baseball team. But they can be an incredibly fun team to watch with a bunch of crazy shit. I said this a couple weeks ago. You put a highlight reel tape together of this team, you would say that team won the World Series, or they at least made it to the ALCS. And then if you put a blooper reel together of this team, you would think they were maybe the worst team in baseball. They field horribly. Alex Cora makes odd decisions. He doesn't want to put Meyer or Anthony again. He doesn't want to start him against lefties. I mean, I understand trying to avoid, help your guys' confidence, but come on, let's be real here. Like they are, if you want to put the best lineup out there, Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer are in that lineup. No questions asked. They are in that lineup. So then trying to avoid them starting against lefties when they're still the best of your, they're in the top 9 of your bats. That's crazy to me. That's just hindering you're handicapping the team. And then you wonder why you're sitting at 500 in June, below 500 in June.
Yeah.
But let's go into our normal awards. Player of the week. Who do you have for your player of the week?
Yeah. The star player of the week, whatever we call it, stud. I would say maybe not shockingly, but we are starting to finally see Juan Soto come around. And
Yes.
facing the Rockies and now the Nationals. I was at the game the other night. He's out there yelling at Mackenzie Gore as soon as he hits that home run. And he's starting to heat up. He's hitting 382 this month going into today. You know, if the Mets get the Juan Soto that they paid for, or at least I don't know if anybody's worth that other than maybe Ohtani, but if the Mets get the kind of Soto production that they expected, they become a truly World Series threat. I think they, even without production from Soto, they're in the mix. But he has started to turn it on. He's had 4 of his last 5 games are multi-hit games. He's hit 4 bombs this month. He's starting to get more comfortable as the weather heats up. I think he's my star of the week. My bum ass player of the week, I'm going to say Corey Seager. I mean, he has 2 hits all month. He has, 7 of his 8 games have been hitless. He's been, I think, the main reason the Rangers offense has struggled. Now, like I said, they put up 16 a couple nights ago, and they're up 6-1 in the second inning now. But again, they're just not getting anything from Corey Seager. And it's crazy because it just aligns with, he had this amazing year in 23. They win the World Series. He goes on an absolute tear in the postseason. Injuries, doesn't have the kind of year last year. They missed the playoffs. He's really slumping this year. Especially of late. It comes in hitting 243 today with just 6 homers over 37 games. And as he goes, the Rangers go. And if he doesn't hit, the Rangers aren't going to hit. And they're not going to score runs. They're not going to win a lot of games. And he's just been such a massive disappointment for me. And I'm going to throw a surprise player. Really, he's kind of the surprise player of the year, but his batting average has gone up 29 points this month. I'm calling it, he is going to be an all-star. I don't know if he's going to start or not. He's hit every game but 1 this month, and he has, I got to do some math here, 14 hits over his last 6 games. And I'm talking about Alejandro Kirk. Did I steal yours?
You took my surprise.
I'm
man.
sorry.
Well, I'm sticking with it. He's been amazing.
He's been awesome. He's going to be an all-star. The Jays are hot. They've won 6 in a row, 8 of 10. Alejandro Kirk, everybody loves to cheer for, I don't want to slander him, but the larger individual. He does not look the part of a baseball player. He's been a solid catcher. You've always felt like he's had the ability to be a good player, but this has been truly a breakout season for him. He's 272 career hitter, and you look at last year at 253, but only 5 homers in 103 games. 250, only 8 homers. I mean, he had a good year in 2022. He made the All-Star team. He had 285 with 14 homers in 139 games, but he has broken out this year. And, now you say, Bo Bichette, Vlad Jr., Alejandro Kirk, George Springer. You're like, okay, they got themselves a solid lineup.
Yeah, on the Alejandro Kirk thing, just his stat line from the last 7 days, 519 average, 2 homers, 7 RBIs. Toronto is 8-2 in their last 10. They're in second place right now in the AL East. They just jumped the Rays after the Rays lost I think it was after their loss last night. And they've won 3 straight series versus Philly, Minnesota, and St. Louis. None of those teams are scrubs. You're not there. You don't lump them in with the Padres, or not the Padres, with the Rockies or with the White Sox. Philly is fighting for the NL East crown right now. Minnesota has been right there, and St. Louis, same thing. They maybe have taken a bit of a step back, but they are still right there. So those are not bad teams. The Jays, Alejandro Kirk is a big part in this. Jays are the first wild card in the American League right now, which is crazy. That's crazy to me. You would have thought they would be like the third one.
They've been
hanging in there.
Absolutely one of the surprises. Honorable mention for surprise player or even stud player of the week. I was there the other night. Jeff McNeil, walk-off hit. He's hitting 12 of 13 games, had a multi-homer game against Colorado a few days back. He has homered now in all 3 games. He just hit a 3-run homer today. He's homered in all 3 games in this Mets National Series. That's 5 for the month. I'm sorry. I was looking at Juan Soto's stats. No, okay. Sorry. McNeil did have he had 3 homers against Colorado. He's hit 1 today. He is hitting 12 of his last 13. Sorry. He's hitting like Juan Soto. That's the thing. And talk about Soto starting to produce. And now McNeil, he lengthens that lineup. They're waiting on Mark Vientos to come back from a hamstring injury. So just reiterating that point about the Mets.
Yeah. My player of the week, I'm sticking with a Met. I'm going Pete Alonso.
Yeah.
It just seems when Juan Soto goes again, it seems like the Mets are going. Pete Alonso elevating his game just thanks to Juan Soto. 3 homers, 10 RBIs, 417 average, 517 on base percentage, a 1392 OPS. The Mets are 5 games up on Philly as well in the NL East right now. Yeah, I mean, it's the Mets are the team of New York, I guess we could say. Probably not, but I'm going to say it anyway just to piss off the Yankee fans. I just hope we're not in for another disappointment like the Mets have been. And when it counts, when it really counts, the Mets have been disappointments. But, I think we're just tired of seeing the Yankees be exciting and good. If there's going to be a good New York team, make it the Metropolitans. Make it give me that orange and blue. I don't want to see the pinstripes in October anymore.
Right, yeah. And I think the Mets are our only hope in the NL, our biggest hope to take down the Dodgers.
Not yet. My team of the week will be the Giants.
Yeah.
I'm rolling with the Giants. They just swept the Braves. They took 3 or 4 from the Padres. They've taken 2 of the first 2 against the Rockies. They are half a game back of the LA Dodgers right now. And I think this West is just going to keep teetering. We've had, the Diamondbacks just took all 3 versus the Mariners. So you're going to have these 4 teams kind of battling it out. But right now it's the Giants' week. And I hope they just keep stepping on the gas. I really want to see that 21 Giants team again.
Yeah, and the Giants and Dodgers play each other in LA. First meeting of the season. Dodgers just took 2 of 3 in San Diego. Giants have to find a way to keep rolling. They got 1 more with the Rockies today, and then 3 with LA. They get Yamamoto on Friday. By the way, I didn't get a chance to say, but yeah, the Jays, I'm giving them my team of the week.
Yeah. My bum-ass player of the week is staying in the NL West. It's Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yeah.
It's 2 for 20, 408 OPS, and the Padres had some pivotal series against the Dodgers and the Giants. They lost 2 of 3 in both of those series, so at least you didn't get swept, right? But every divisional game right now for the NL West is incredibly important, and not taking those series, that really hurts. I mean, that's going to make it really difficult. At least they're beating the Rockies, right? At least the Padres are beating the Rockies, but especially when Tatis is struggling, it's going to be hard for the Padres to really make some noise in the West.
Definitely. And my bum, I guess I didn't give my bum-ass team of the week. I'm so used to giving it to the Orioles at this point, and it just almost needs to be Rockies proof at this point, because they've lost 5 in a row. But I'm going to say it's the Cardinals, because we've given them our team of the week before, but now they've lost 7 of 10. They've lost 4 straight. They were swept by the Blue Jays. We felt like the Cardinals had a chance to kind of push for maybe to compete to win the division. They've dropped to 5 back at the Cubs. Brendan Donovan now dealing with a toe injury. We didn't expect a lot from them before the season, in fairness, but I think they got a lot of people's hopes up. Playing good ball. They're now down to just 36 and 32, which is still pretty solid, but they are scuffling all of a sudden. Although I really should probably pick the Mariners, but this is like Mariners proof, because once you hit June, every good thing the Mariners did the first 2 months of the season just automatically comes off. It's like clockwork. They stop hitting, and then if they're pitching, it just breaks under the weight of carrying the entire team. So I guess they can split the award.
Yeah, I had the Mariners.
Okay.
Just swept by the Diamondbacks. They've lost 2 of 3 to the Angels, and then they're now below 500. They're 4 games back of the Astros. I mean, just handing the Astros the AL West.
Yeah,
and it's I think we said it all of our past episodes where we were hyping up the Mariners. We said, just don't forget, they do this to us. They try and fool you. Don't fall for it. And we didn't fall for it, although we did give them some awards. I think they earned those awards when we did, but now they're on the other side of the spectrum.
Yeah,
definitely to the Mariners. All right, let's talk about the weekend. It's another big weekend. Red Sox Yankees this weekend. I will be there on Friday and Sunday. I think we have a few different rivalries. We have Giants Dodgers this weekend. Cardinals Brewers is that one. That's an NL Central rivalry. Padres Diamondbacks, big NL West matchup. Let's see. Who else here? Blue Jays Phillies, I guess. Cliff Lee Bowl.
No, Cliff Lee didn't play for the Jays, did he?
Who am I thinking of? Oh my God.
Roy Halladay.
Roy Halladay Bowl. I don't know why I mixed that up. I think they were just kind of there around, they were hitting their peaks somewhat around the same time. All right, let's start off with Pirates Cubs this weekend.
Skeens is pitching one of these games. Pirates actually playing a little better. We've sort of forgotten about the Cubs a little bit. They dropped 2 or 3 to the Phillies. We're kind of just oh yeah, we look at them and we've kind of gotten used to seeing them in first place in the Central, 41-27. But I think they need to turn it back up. And now they get a Pirates team who's playing better, won 6 of 10. But they're 13 and a half games out there in last place. This is to me, kind of a prove that you're still one of the contenders weekend for the Cubs.
Yeah. Good tune-up weekend.
Yeah.
Marlins Nationals. Do we even have to play this?
Yeah, I don't know. The Nationals have dropped 4 straight. They were down 3-0 last I checked today against the Mets. Their bullpen is really problematic. The Marlins, actually, Sandy Alcantara is pitching better a little bit. I mean, he couldn't pitch much worse for the Marlins. It's one of those it's like a scout series. The scouts are there watching. Who can we pluck off of these rosters? I mean, the Nats are improved, but they're still, they're still not. They're probably still sellers again this year in terms of just getting their young core ready. I think Kyle Finnegan's a name I've heard potentially moving on at a place like Detroit. They've had to use him so often for more than 3 outs this year, and that's just the state of their bullpen.
Yeah, the Red Sox are kind of in the same place as well. I mean, Brendan Bernardino was so frustrated. He just walked off the mound and threw his glove. I think he blew it. He gave up a run in the 10th. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But he's just been, the guy has just been burned out all year. Really, the past couple of years, they've just been riding him. So everyone understands his frustration. Blue Jays Phillies. I think this is going to be a very interesting series. Very a good test, I think, for both of these teams. Who's real, basically. It's at the link.
Yeah, they just played each other in Toronto. 2 out of 3 for the Jays in that series. Phillies have kind of gone in the opposite direction. The Jeff Hoffman Bowl also, right? He leaves the Phillies. He's taken over. His ERA has been a little inflated, but he's pitched a lot this year. So curious to see if that usage continues to catch up to him. But Phillies, they're 10 games over. They're 5 back. To me, they just, I don't know. It doesn't feel like they have that juice. I mean, I could be wrong, but kind of got off to a whatever start, and then they got really hot for a while, maybe burned themselves out. But yeah, definitely a prove it weekend for the Jays if they want to stay on a roll.
Yeah. Angels Orioles, the big Apple TV matchup in Baltimore. I can't believe that Apple TV is advertising this as some sort of matchup. I don't care to see this. No offense.
No, it doesn't strike me as an Apple TV game. I mean, they played not that long ago. They played, let's see, I thought they played each other. Yeah, okay, actually early May. And the Orioles took 2 out of 3 in Anaheim. But yeah, the Orioles are playing better. If they're going to have any chance to get back in it, they got to win the games they got to win. But the Angels are 1 game under 500. I truly believe they were going to be better. Again, it's hard for them to keep being worse, but I think they've been better than really anyone could have expected this year. They're getting pretty good offensive production and from guys not named Mike Trout, although he's back. Taylor Ward is on the IL now. He was their leading home run hitter, although hitting only 204. They don't hit for a lot of average. These are 2 teams that don't really hit for average. So you might see a lot of strikeouts and a lot of power in this series, but so maybe that's why Apple TV picked it. We'll see a lot of home runs, we'll see a lot of strikeouts, a lot of true results over the weekend.
Yeah. Reds Tigers feels like a classic matchup. I don't feel like I ever see these teams play each other all that much, but it's a classic baseball matchup to me.
Yeah. Yeah, like old school teams. Reds were playing really well. I think they just had a 5-game winning streak snap.
They're
They're
over
over
500.
500. Yeah, but they're in fourth place in the Central, which is crazy because we don't think like the NL Central's that good, but you look over and you have 4 teams over 500 right now. And Detroit, look, they're rolling. They're 44-25 right now. They're 23-9 at home. The Reds will miss Skubal this weekend because he's pitching tonight. I don't know. The Tigers have been kind of weird this year. It's like they're really good, but it seems like maybe they play down a little bit to their competition. Like they split first 2 with the Orioles, they split 4 with the White Sox. They've done pretty well against the good teams. And they did sweep the Rockies when they had that opportunity. But like lost 2 out of 3 to Texas. Oh, it's hard. They lost 3 out of 4 to the Guardians. They've been streaky, I would say, in a way. I mean, and so still getting a sense of how good the Tigers really are. I know they're a good team. They're going to be in the playoffs. I'm pretty sure they're going to win the division. But are they going to be able to take the next step? I think they need to add another bat. I think they need to add another arm. They beef up their roster. It's a different story. So this is kind of a hard series to get a handle on.
Yeah. Rays Mets in New York.
Rays are doing the Rays. They're hanging in and they're kind of overachieving. And great season thus far for Drew Rasmussen. He's coming back. They have so many pitchers. Some guys will struggle or they'll get hurt, like Taj Bradley's struggling. But they hit. They're an exciting team. And they're the kind of team I think they can give the Mets a little bit of trouble. Mets have been on a burner, 8 of 10. They won 5 straight. They're winning today. But for the Rays, they kind of they like to stir the pot. I say they're like the stir the pot kind of team. So we'll see what they can do in the Big Apple.
Feels like a Rays series. Definitely feels
Actually
like
does, yeah. But
mid-June, going to New York, playing the Mets interleague. It feels like that type of Rays series. I'll take 2 or 3.
Yeah, they remember
just for the hell of it.
Didn't they have a series with a Hurricane? They hosted games at Citi Field. I think it was a couple of years ago.
I thought that was last year when the Trop was torn to shreds.
No, because that happened at like the very end.
It was at the end of hurricane season.
But yeah, it was something where they were displaced by a hurricane or so. Maybe it was 22 when they had that big hurricanes in September. I'm not sure, but anyway.
All the hurricanes just kind of mesh in my mind because you deal with them. Red Sox Yankees, big series at Fenway.
Yeah, like you said, Red Sox took 2 or 3 at Yankee Stadium. Yankees only 8-8 in their division. So they've, beaten up on a lot of teams outside the East this year. And, they've done well, the Yankees have, against over 500 teams, or 25-17. But, the division's been tricky. I mean, the Yankees are 10-2 against the AL West this year. But this is a big test, obviously, for the Red Sox. You can keep that youth movement going. There's a lot of energy, a lot of juice at Fenway Park. There was not a letdown series yet, right? The Red Sox didn't let down against the Rays. Oh, maybe they look past to the Yankee series.
They opened the series and you kind of thought, oh fuck, like here it comes. Like maybe they'll win game 2, but they're gonna lose game 3. They're gonna make you believe again. And they took game 3, and they've been doing what they need to do. That's the past 2 series, and again, it's a very small sample size, but it really started with that Ceden Rafaela walk-off home run, just like wrapping around the pesky pole. 300. It was the shortest walk-off home run, they said, in the StatCast era.
Yeah.
It was 308 feet. I mean, when that happened, I was listening to it, and I wasn't even that excited. I was just kind of like, okay, we won. Yay, we beat the Angels. I think we lost that series too, but and then you go into Friday night and you get the Yankees put up a 5 spot in the first inning, and you're like, okay, it's like call the season, wrap it up, it's over. But they fought and they've clawed back, and it feels good. So I think they're not peaking, but they're rising. They probably feel like they're rising right now. And I mean, rising in mid-June, I'm pretty happy with that, but they got to keep it going. This is going to be the test. It is. Yarborough on Friday night. That's good for the Red Sox. Yarborough has been struggling as of late. He's got a 4.17 ERA, but I think specifically against the Red Sox, he is not.
Well, that's it. Yeah, he had actually been pitching well. He had a bad start, and then I'm guessing Max Fried pitches one of the games, and God, I mean, I like Max Fried personally. I do, and he's a good pitcher. He's not this good. He's not this good. He's good.
Yeah.
Very good. He's an ace. He's not a sub-2 ERA guy. Please. I mean, this is what I'm talking about, right? Rodon, he's not a sub-3 ERA guy, although I don't know if his went over with this last start. But I mean, the Sox got to score runs. There's no way. I mean, they got to have one game where Crochet or whatever just shuts down the Yankees.
Yeah, it's Dobbins and Rodon on Saturday, and Bayo and Fried on Sunday afternoon. So the Red Sox, I mean, I think they got off a little easy with the matchups last week. They did get Rodon on Sunday night, but there's going to be more of a test now. But you have to take Friday night. It's Crochet Friday night. You have to take Friday night against Yarborough.
Yeah.
You can't afford to lose that one.
And God forbid we don't have Yankees Red Sox Sunday night. Of course, instead, we have to take the Dodgers Giants.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to watch that disgusting stuff. Rockies, Braves. Just Braves, you have to take all three. You're in. There's no more room for error.
No. Braves, I mean, God, you look at the standings, 29 and 38. They're buried at this point in the NL East, and you look at the wild card, they're 9 games out. And so we're starting to talk about who the Braves are going to sell off this year. I don't know about a Matt Olson, but do they look at moving like an Ozzie Albies, an Austin Riley, guys that have bigger contracts, and start thinking about stockpiling some young arms? Yeah, I mean, they think they were 0-7, and I think they were like the fastest team to go back over 500. And you talk about burning yourself out. They've done that. Rockies, after sweeping the Marlins, it's like, oh, they're going to go on that run. The law of averages. Now they're 12 and 50. And they've lost 5 straight. So, yeah, got to take all 3. Man, Ronald Acuna, he hasn't missed a beat. He's come back, and that guy's tearing the cover off the ball. So we'll see what he does to the poor Rockies this weekend.
Yeah. White Sox, Rangers. I will say that the Chicago White Sox, they split. Did they split? They split with the Tigers. They took 2 of 3 from the Royals. And they have a chance to take 2 of 3 from the Astros tonight at 8:10. So White Sox are not rolling over. They are not a rollover team anymore. So look out for the Pope. The papal luck is pushing the White Sox forward. I don't know if you saw the photo of him in the White Sox hat.
I did. Yeah. No, the Sox are. Yeah, they look at, like, I love my run differential. They only have the 3rd worst run differential in the American League, but they're better. They have a 25 better run differential than the Orioles. So that might tell you something. But they're playing better. Look, we knew they couldn't be any worse than historically bad. We knew they'd get a little better. Yeah. There's definitely been some highlights statistically for the White Sox this year. A guy I really like who's hitting 296, Chase Mydroth. He's been kind of a nice presence at the top. I'd love to see Miguel Vargas be good, because I just don't want the Dodgers to get off scot-free. He was the guy they traded in that 3-way deal with Edman and Kopech, and it's like, God, can they actually at least lose a good player? I mean, Lux is doing pretty well in Cincinnati, I guess. But, okay, I want to see him do well. Luis Robert loves facing the Astros, apparently. And then you look at starting pitching, and, the ERAs are – I mean, Shane Smith, 3-3 with a 2.37 ERA. Davis Martin, 3.62. They're not horrible. But all that said, Texas has got to start hitting. Texas has got to start taking this seriously, because I know Bruce Bochy and his whole, this is every other year, but this year has not been good for them, and they're not, up until this week anyway, they've not been scoring any runs. So they got to figure out a way to start hitting.
Yeah. Twins, Astros in Houston.
Well, it's not the postseason, so the Twins have a chance against the Astros. Yeah, I mean, their Twins got really hot. Now they're dealing with some pitching injuries, especially Pablo Lopez. That's a big one. Byron Buxton is heating up, but unfortunately, so are the Astros, and they're going to get Yordan Alvarez back. And I think one of their pitchers is Arrighetti's working his way back. You're like, Jesus, here we go again, right? So if the Twins want to kind of catch themselves, this would be one of those. I know it would feel good for them to beat the Astros.
Yeah. Athletics Royals.
2014 wild card game. Remember that epic 12 inning
Absolutely.
game? Yeah,
Salvi walk off down the third
down the
baseline.
third base line. Yeah, yeah. He goes from that walk off hit to making the last out of that World Series. But the Royals they've got to get it going. They've fallen to 500. They're getting embarrassed these first two games by the Yankees. They have been okay at home, 19 and 15. The A's, I mean, remember how well the A's were doing, right? They were doing
Yeah.
so well, and then they hit a major. See, they were like 1 and 20, and then now they've just gotten swept by the Angels. Jacob Wilson, though, if there's any reason to watch the A's, Jacob Wilson, 366. He's been battling a little bit of a hamstring injury, had a couple hitless games, and he's had a couple days off now. We'll see if he can if he can kind of spark the A's again offensively.
Give me a little bit on Caglione. How's the start for Jack Tani going?
Jack Tunney, yeah. Well, we haven't seen the power yet. He hasn't hit a homer. I know everyone's waiting to see that. He had a 4-hit game. He was 4 for 4 against the White Sox in that one game they won. Outside of that, we've just been seeing a lot of 1 for 4s, basically, and 0 for 4s with Jack. I think the excitement is there. He can't alone save the Royals offense. It feels like they're so reliant on Bobby Witt. I mean, Michael Garcia was doing well. We know Salvi can hit, but it just feels like if Witt's not carrying the team, then they're not going to score a lot of runs. So I'd love to see Caglione pick it up for them. Tonight would be a good start so they can avoid a sweep of the Yankees.
Yeah. Cardinals Brewers.
That middling NL Central matchup. Cardinals kind of heading in the wrong direction. Obviously, Brewers caught themselves at that horrendous start to the year. Winner of this series probably says, we're in it. Loser might look and say, maybe it's not our year. This actually feels like a big series in a lot of ways for these two teams. Like, it's a 4-gamer, right? I think it's a 4-game series that they start. Do they start tonight or is it tomorrow?
Let's see. Yeah, they start tonight.
Yeah. So 4 games. I mean, they split, then it's like, oh, okay, then they're both just kind of like slightly above average. And someone takes 3 or 4, that other team's like walking away with its tail between its legs.
Yeah. Let's see. I lost my spot here. Padres Diamondbacks, big NL West matchup.
Yeah, the NL West going head to head. Finally, Colorado's not involved in this weekend, so it's Padres Diamondbacks, Giants Dodgers. Padres, losing a series to the Dodgers at home always hurts, and they really, like, that first game was a real gut punch. It was 8-7 in 10 innings, and Padres, like, since that great, they were 15 and 4. They've been under 500 since then. They were great at home. Now they're kind of Now they go on the road. Arizona, with all its pitching injuries, Corbin Burns is done for the year. They think Justin Martinez may be headed for Tommy John. They just got Eduardo Rodriguez back. Arizona is the most exciting team in baseball. How many games have they had this year where both teams have scored in double digits? I think probably have 3 times more than the next closest team. You want entertainment, you want to see offense, watch a Diamondbacks game. And I want to see if the Padres offense can keep up, because it just feels like every year the Padres should be hitting more than they are. Now, you mentioned Tatis. He's been kind of a bum. Machado's been good. He has, but he's not going to carry the offense. They need all their guys to kind of keep that trend.
Is he going to be remembered as a Padre? It's seeming more and more every day that he would, if he goes to the Hall of Fame, I'm not saying he is, if he went, he would go in as a Padre.
Yeah, well, he was only an Oriole for 4.5, not even, because he didn't really play the full 2014, and then he was a Dodger for a couple of months. But yeah, I mean, look, Machado's got 350 career homers. Just hit that mark recently against the Giants. But yeah, I mean, Arizona, because they're only at 500, they need this even more than the Padres do. Padres are still just 2 games out and 1 in the loss column in the West. But, as far as how the Padres have kind of done against the division this year, I think they just took 2 out of 3 from the Giants, right, in that series, if I'm not mistaken. And then they lose 2 out of 3 to to the Dodgers.
They lost 2 of 3 to the Giants. Oh no, they split with the Giants.
Okay, so they're 10-5 against the West, but remember they're 5-1 against the Rockies. So they're really 5-4 against the division.
At least they're beating the Rockies. I mean, that's what we said at the beginning of the year.
And they're actually, weirdly enough, they're the only team over 500 in the division against left-handed pitchers. They're 11-10. I mean, you look at like every team. I don't know why that stat is so fascinating. Every team just about has a losing record or an average record against left-handed pitching. The Yankees are 10-6, and the Tigers are 12-4. Everyone else is average or below average against left-handed pitching. So just get a bunch of lefties. I don't know.
Yeah. Guardians, Mariners. Mariners just trying to stay afloat at this point. They're kicking and they're clawing right now.
It's funny because it's like the Mariners just play the Diamondbacks. The Mariners are basically the least exciting team in the league to watch, and the Diamondbacks are the most. And then the Guardians are not all that entertaining. Although, like one of these shows, one of these days, we'll spend time on a debate of whether Jose Ramirez could be a Hall of Famer. That guy's awesome. He really is. And but the Guardians bullpen was such a strength last year, and their starting pitching was above average, but I don't know. These are just two middling teams that need to just get their act together.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the premier or the big one, Giants Dodgers.
Yeah, the scary thing right now about the Dodgers is, okay, so they started the year 8-0, and then since then they're 33-28, very pedestrian. This is a team that they were taking bets about whether they'd break the Mariners record and win 117 games. It's obviously not going to happen, but it's just lingering in the back of your mind. All the guys are going to get back, and that's not even to speak of Ohtani pitching, which is just frightening. It's Snell, Sasaki, Glass now, even Gonsolin, and maybe throw Ohtani in there. And oh, by the way, they still already have Yamamoto, a still effective Kershaw, a solid, if not spectacular, Dustin May. Their bullpen, they just got back Kopech and Yates. Tanner Scott's pitching better. Gratterall's coming back in the second. Like, it's just, you can't get that out of your mind. So you look at this series and you're like, okay, Giants are a half game back. That's super exciting. They're 40-28. You made your prediction before the year. Maybe there's some 2021 vibes about this team. I think the Giants need at least one more big bat in that lineup. I really do, if not two, if they're going to really make a push. I hate to say it. I don't think this is any kind of barometer series for the Giants for that exact reason, because I just don't think any of these teams are getting the Dodgers at their best, and the Dodgers are still really, really good. And so I would just say for the Giants, you wanna make noise now, because when the Dodgers get healthy, unless you really beef up your roster at the trade deadline, LA is just gonna just take off the way we've seen in years past. They, maybe they're not as good early, and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh my God, they've won 24 of 27. And you're like, what happened to that 3-game lead to suddenly become a 9-game deficit? But
this very well could be the worst that we see them this year.
Yeah, and isn't that a scary thought? And like I said, the first game of the series, they have to face Yamamoto. But the good news, Logan Webb's always seemed to do pretty well against the Dodgers, so that's going to be a premier pitching matchup. You've got Ropp, who's had a good year against Kershaw's coming off a good start, and then the Sunday night game is Kyle Harrison and Dustin May. Two guys had very similar numbers this year. So we'll see. I mean, again, Dodgers just took 2 or 3 in San Diego. They had an off day. They're coming off this bad stretch. The Giants, do the law of averages bite them? They won 7 in a row, maybe 8 if they finish off the Rockies today. It's like, are they really going to win, 10 in a row, 10 of 11? You're like, oh, God, this is one where like the pendulums come, or whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. And then it's
right
like
into the middle. Yeah.
It's kind of like, it's got to go the other way. So I don't know. This has Dodgers series win written all over it, but hey, we'll see. Again, this is as vulnerable as you're ever going to get the Dodgers, so it wouldn't shock me if the Giants go in and take the series. But just feels like the Dodgers are just I don't know if playing with their food is the right expression, but kind of just lying in the weeds, saving some energy here, and then they're ready to just, like I said, shoot upward.
Yeah. Alrighty, well, that's a good place to wrap her up. There's one thing that I want to do to end the show, as I think going forward, we're going to do a trivia question just based around the topic we discussed the most. So we're going to start with baseball trivia at the end of this show. Which was higher? Joe DiMaggio's on-base percentage during his 56-game hitting streak in 1941, or Ted Williams' on-base percentage for the entire 1941 season?
Am I supposed to answer, or is this for our viewers to?
You can answer. We'll give them a second. They're thinking about it now, but you can answer.
You're a Red Sox guy, so I'm going to go Ted Williams.
Yes, it was. It was Ted Williams, 553 OBP during the entire 41 season versus DiMaggio having a 463 OBP during his 56-game hitting streak.
Yeah, I mean,
that's just insane.
It is.
Both,
but, yeah, hitting streaks could be a 1 for 5, So we know what that historic season was like for Teddy Ballgame. But yeah, not crazy shocking, but you would think, because there probably might be some 4 for 4 games in there too.
Yeah. Here's a bonus one. Who is the second all-time in hits by a left-handed hitting outfielder born on November 21st in Donora, Pennsylvania?
Second all-time among left-handed hitters?
Who is the second all-time in hits by a left-handed hitting outfielder born on November 21st in Donora, Pennsylvania? Who's the first? Do you know the first?
Well, I want to say Wade Boggs could be one of them. No, lefties, but I think Ty Cobb wasn't a lefty, was he? He was a righty.
I think he was a righty, but he is not.
He's not the
answer.
And obviously, it's not Pete Rose. So
the leader is Stan Musial. With 3,630.
No, tell me this: does the second one have over 3,000?
No, does not have over 3,000.
I almost wanted to say Yaz.
Nope,
not Yaz.
Not him. This one, it would shock you. They are not from the same era of baseball whatsoever.
Okay, and who was born in Pennsylvania? I mean, what era are we talking? You give me something.
90s and 2000s.
Wow. It's not Todd Helton or Larry Walker or Griffey or Bonds. It's probably.
Oh, you had one there.
Is it? Is it Griffey?
Yeah, it is Ken Griffey Jr.
I didn't realize he was a Pennsylvania guy.
Yeah, he was born same day, same city as Stan Musial.
Wow.
He's a left-handed hitting outfielder, and somehow he is still second on that list. What an unfortunate.
I just love Ken Griffey. Just because I love Ken Griffey Jr. Presents Major League Baseball. Is my favorite all-time video game, Super Nintendo, from the 93-94 season. It's just the sweetest swing, the most confident lefty. He just stood so perfectly upright. He had that little
the waggle.
Only guy to hit I don't know if Ohtani did it, but was the only guy to hit the warehouse, hit it on the fly in home run derby in 93.
Yeah, and he's just the coolest guy. I think everyone kind of agrees. And you can't, is there really a lot of negative things to say about him as a person? You could say that he was injury prone at times, and he probably underperformed on what his expectations would be. Right? That's not bad to say in any way. He's probably expected to be one of the greatest of all time. And as a physical athlete, he's up there, but just as a baseball player, definitely not up there. But yeah, Griffey he's Griffey. He's the coolest. He's the most, they somehow made him a perfect villain for Little Big League as well.
Yeah.
Somehow he's a villain, and you're like, man, that guy is an asshole. I don't like
Good actor. Good actor.
Very good actor. Yeah, he makes he robs the home run at the end of the game, just treating Billy Haywood like a little kid, just being an asshole to Bill Haywood.
Yeah.
But yeah, love Griffey, but really unfortunate that he's born same city, plays the same position, and is also a left-handed hitting. He's a left-hander as the best guy. He's not even the best guy in his town. Not even the best baseball player in his hometown.
Right.
But all right, we're gonna wrap up there. Thank you for watching. Go buy your Superman tickets. Tickets on sale. I have my pre-screening. I will be going early and seeing the movie early. I'm just so excited for this movie. It's gonna be awesome. But again, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next week.